Hello and welcome to Great Britain as we embark on the second half of our F1 season. I am your man on the mic, one Ben Silver here with the call in Great Britain. Excited to have you along, looking forward to some good F1 action. Unfortunately, I did miss the F2 race on Sunday. It was very sad to have missed it. Heard it was quite a fun finish. But I'll be here to bring you all of the action in Great Britain, turn by turn. Of course, the British Grand Prix is quite the fan favorite track. And we should have a full grid today. Still waiting on a couple fellows to join, but we should have 20 racers out there today. A little bit about this race last year. We saw Vapor Trench get the win here. He is really trying to make a bit of a comeback in the table. Currently in fourth place, joint fourth place, I should say, with Let's Get Fiscal. He did take the win here last year in Bette Jalle Racing. Greeny came in second last year in Great Britain. Not much to say about that other than Greeny desperately needs to get himself back on track. No pun intended. He's found himself a wall, a missing tire, just really bad luck through the last couple of races with back-to-back DNFs. I should say a DNF last week and a disqualification the week before, but no finishes in our last two races, so he would certainly love to have a top three finish here. Let's Get Fiscal finished in third last year, and Elian Bayon, also known now as Vapor Elian, I believe, finished fourth last year in Great Britain. Coming off of an Austrian race last week that saw Vapor Trench go ahead and start that momentum with a win, followed closely by his teammate Vapor Cobalt in second, a difference of only about 4 seconds there at the end. Big Baguette slipped in with the help of some penalties, managed to get a third place finish, and Red Sniper, who I believe crossed the finish line last week in second, slipped all the way down into fourth as he had accrued a few penalties. And Let's Get Fiscal rounded out our top five last week in Austria. As we get underway on this short qualifying here in Great Britain, looks like the skies are a bit cloudy, holding back rain for now, hoping that better weather for the race. Looking at our table, we see Vapor Cobalt in first place with 154 points. Quite good for him. He's actually 19 points ahead of second place, which would be Big Baguette. And in third, with 124 points, is Greeny. It certainly has been kind of a three-man race here in the table, with those three basically being in every one of those positions, 1, 2, or 3 at some point throughout the season. So certainly all three of those fellows will be looking for a bit of separation here in Great Britain and hoping for a good finish, or in Greeny's case, any finish at all. As we see our first few drivers head out onto the track, it looks like we have Justice maybe serving a quali ban. Will not be setting a time. Let's see who is our first racer out of the pits here in Great Britain. It seems to be Let's Get Fiscal. So we'll hop in the cockpit with him, and through this hot lap, I'll take you through the track. This track coming in just a little under 6 kilometers. One of the longer tracks in the F1 season. Certainly the other end of the spectrum from Austria last week. Very much so. Very twisty, very turny track, but a fun one nonetheless. As we see, Let's Get Fiscal warming up the old tires. It looks like we do have 19 drivers, not 20, in this race. We'll have to see if anyone else joins towards the end of qualifying. In joint fourth, as I mentioned earlier, in the table, we have Let's Get Fiscal and Vapor Trench both on 103 points. And that is where our drivers with 3 digits end. And we have to go all the way down to 51 points. Less than half the amount of our fourth place racers is Red Sniper with 51 points. Trulson knocking on the door of Red Sniper with 49 points. 8th is Justice with 46 points. 9th is Josh Smithness with 41 points. And Vapor Elian with 39 rounds out our top 10. So we will take you in the action here, hiding the UI so you can really see the work that Let's Get Fiscal gets done here. So you see he's coming up here on turn 4, into turn 5, bit of a light left, but 3, 4, and 5 kind of make a full U-turn. This will be our DRS Zone 1 into turn 6, which is a looping left turn into a hard right roundabout, almost 180 degrees there on turn 7. Turn 8 is just, you barely feel it, as you can see right there. No tap of the brake. Turn 9, kind of the same way. I think most of these drivers should be able to take that without too much on the braking. Now turns 10, 11, and 12 are just kind of a back and forth affair, as you can see there, as we come into our DRS detection zone for our home straight. Turn 14 is just a little waggle to the inside, and as you can see, he's coming up now to turns 16, and then 17 is the right, and turn 18 is our final turn that takes us down our home straight. Very nice time for Let's Get Fiscal with 1 minute and 25 seconds, just under 1 minute 26. We'll see how that holds up as we'll start to get other quality times coming in. So like I said, 18 turns on this track, a bit of a long one. Gourlay jumps Let's Get Fiscal with a slightly better qualifying time. Let's see who else we have on an out lap. Red Sniper is always turns in some pretty solid lap times. We might stay here to see what kind of time he has coming across. No purple zone, so I can't imagine it's going to be too terribly fast. As he sets, Word Cloud that is, sets a 1 minute 26. We see Red Sniper setting purple in zone 1, so that'll look good. How you doing, Lazy? Digging the name change. Wish you nothing but luck racing under Lesty the Twig now. Is Lazy. Hello, Justice. Good to see you, pal. Oh, Red Sniper loses it there. Ooh, hope he gets all that out of his system now, as turn 9 can be rather unforgiving. As Lazy kind of puts on the brakes coming out of the pits. Didn't want to have any contact there in qualifying. Let's see who else we have coming in here. Take a look at Greeny on his outlap. Now, I'm not sure if you remember, but last week, Greeny was having all sorts of problems in his qualifying lap. Could not get a valid lap. He must have taken 4 or 5 attempts at it and managed to invalidate all of those attempts. So he'll certainly be looking for a little bit of better luck here in this race. As Justice does indeed confirm that he is serving a quali ban. That is, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. It seems like you've had really strong form the last few races, so it's kind of a bummer to not get to see you starting maybe a little bit better off in the grid. This track has a lot of interesting turns in and out. So I wish you, nothing but luck, and I really think that you'll have a strong chance to make your way through the pack. But for now, just, sit tight and listen to the sweet, dulcet tones of your announcer here in Great Britain. And Greeny did invalidate his last quali lap. Looks like he's going to take another shot at it here. We saw a lot of this last week. And just for whatever reason, Greeny just really is having trouble figuring it out in qualifying. Not entirely sure why, to be honest with you. This man does so well on the track with others around him. And Justice, I'd be interested in having you weigh in. Why do you think it is that Greeny tends to have such a difficult time in qualifying versus, in a race proper? Is it the aggressive nature that, oftentimes can put him in the wall in races that just has him going just slightly out of the parameters of the track? I'm interested in your take as a fellow driver, why you think Greeny does struggle so much in qualifying. We will go up to Vichensky, who is trying to better his lap here. We do have a new pole setter with Vapor Trench coming in at under a minute and 25 seconds, currently sitting about 0.8 of a second faster than second place Big Baguette. Gourlay's time is looking pretty strong. Really like to see that from Gourlay. He had himself an absolute mare of a race in Austria, so it'll be really exciting to see how he does here in Great Britain. I really feel like Gourlay is starting to kind of hit his stride and has really raced much better the last couple of goes, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that strong pace up during the race. We also have somewhat of a newcomer, somewhat of an old-timer in Gino Giuseppe. Raced with Bette Jalle back a few years ago. He's on his first race of Season 8. He'll be one of our substitute drivers in the back end of our schedule here for Bette Jalle Season 8. I'll be excited to see what he can offer. Gino's always... if you look at the old stats, he always did a really solid job coming in a lot of top 10 finishes, so it'll be interesting to see what Gino can do. Meanwhile, Justice has just wrote back that Greeny is incredibly fast on one laps and goes always to the track limits and the limits of the setup, and sometimes he just overdrives it. I think that's a really valid point. We see Greeny driving very, very aggressively in races, making passes that not a lot of other drivers will shoot for, turning incredibly tiny margins into successful passes. Sometimes, I guess, in a qualifying setting where you only have one lap and you don't have to worry about passing any drivers, you're just trying to set your fastest lap, it can happen that you just don't manage to keep it on the track itself. Also here in Great Britain is Carwin. We got our first taste of Carwin last week in Austria. He set a really strong qualifying time. I believe he started in third. Unfortunately, he did DNF in the race, but definitely this driver looks like he can set some incredible pace. So with the introduction of Carwin Robb, we'll see how he fares in Great Britain. Definitely a different feel here in Great Britain than Austria, going from such a short track with few turns to this kind of long, sprawling track of Great Britain. And we'll sit in the cockpit here with Carwin to see what kind of qualifying he can give us as he comes into his hot lap. Good stuff for him as he comes into the first DRS zone right off of turn 5, coming up into turn 6. Bit of a tricky left. Manages to do a really nice job, get a solid exit right into that hard turn 7. coming into a turn 8 here. He's got to be really careful coming up on turn 9, as we've seen a couple of other drivers have trouble overcorrecting coming out of turn 9. Very, very nice work from him. And now we'll come into the tricky back and forth here of turns 10, 11, 12, 13, and into 14. No problem as he hits the second DRS straight. And this turn 15 will be a hard right. He'll have no trouble whatsoever with that. And as long as he can get through turn 16 into 17, I think he'll be just fine. And should set a really good time. This has felt very, very fast. Of course, without looking at the time, I'm not entirely sure. Let's take a look at how he does. Yeah, indeed, he'll jump all the way up to pole position. Will Carwin really ran a great qualifying lap there. And we have times from our top 13 drivers, with Let's Get Fiscal now sitting in 10th in qualifying. Oh, 12th as we get 2 more times in. We see Maddie's jumping up to 9th. Not sure who else turned in the faster time to pass Let's Get Fiscal, as he will not start in the top 10 unless he goes out for another lap here. Meanwhile, Greeny is on a hot lap. Let's see. So far, so good. Looks like a purple Sector 1 as we come into Sector 2. Let's see if he can keep it on the track. Ladies and gents, we are certainly rooting for him. He should be pretty much the only driver that would challenge, I think, the very nice time from Carwin. Still only about 0.05 of a second faster than Vapor Trench. But it wasn't enough to get it done. As Greeny handling those twisting turns 10 through 13 effortlessly, setting another purple sector. Looks like he is in for the pole position if he can just keep it safely on the track here. Just don't overrun it. Oh, he overcompensates and oversteers. That's bad luck for him coming out of turn 15. Understeers, I should say. And we get an invalid lap from Greeny. It looks like he's going to go ahead and just have another go at it here. We'll hang tight with Greeny because, like I said, this man has no trouble with pace. He's just got to keep it on the track for the last couple of turns. As Lazy crashed out of qualifying, hence the retiring. I guess so did Red Sniper. That's bad luck for you gentlemen. I'm sorry to see that. We'll have to see whereabouts you start on the grid if Greeny can keep it on the track and set a qualifying time as we come into the last few minutes of qualifying. Greeny does a nice job there on turn 9 that we've seen a lot of issues with drivers in qualifying so far. Excellent job holding the line on turn 14 there. And he's got a purple sector 2 once again. It all comes down to these last few turns. See how he handles turn 15 this time. Definitely a little bit more cautiously. Excellent work from him. In the last couple turns. Come on, Greeny. And we will get a time from Greeny. In fact, we'll get a pole from Greeny. So it took a few tries, but Greeny manages to get it done and slide just a few tenths of a second faster than Carwin, who will be relegated to starting in P2 here with the finish of qualifying. Looks like Let's Get Fiscal will try to set one more time here. Let's see how he does. So far he's 2 or 3 tenths faster than his previous time. Now 5 tenths faster through Sector 2. So Let's Get Fiscal should move up a couple of positions here, assuming that he does not invalidate, which is looking good for Let's Get Fiscal, a driver who we can always count on to keep it on the track and avoid penalties. Excellent work from Let's Get Fiscal as he'll slide up to P8. Not bad at all, sir. So let's see here. We still have a few more drivers looking to set another time, perhaps, including Gino Giuseppe, looking to get back into the top 10. Yeah, indeed. As I just saw Lazy posting in the chat that it was a really solid qualifying lap from Greeny. We were just talking about how qualifying can be a bit of a struggle for Greeny, as he's always looking to push the envelope. But he did a really nice job. Ooh, who was that we just saw fly off the track there? Pachensky? Yeah, Pachensky. Just gave it a little too much there, coming out of the windy turns 10 through 13. But, you know, when Greeny hits his stride, he hits it hard and he hits it running, which we saw him do in that qualifying lap to earn himself a pole position that looks like it will indeed hold up, although we do have many drivers out on hot laps trying to get just one more lap in before the end of qualifying. Of course, you can never rule out Big Baguette. Big Baguette is kind of a really interesting mesh of pace, which he certainly does not lack, but he's also so consistent, also managing to avoid penalties when other drivers fail to do so, and really running clean races. Very calculated, I think, would be the word that I would use to describe Big Baguette's racing. He does a really nice job, and he manages to just churn out those top 5 finishes after top 5 finishes, and you know that's why he finds himself currently in second place in the table. So see Big Baguette heading into sector 2 and turn 9, which we know is going to be tricky today. I'm sure we'll see a few drivers oversteer coming out of turn 9, and definitely will be one of the turns that I will be keeping a very strong eye on. Greeny sets a purple sector 2, so we'll have to see if how his sector 3 is and if he can slide up just maybe another spot or so. Currently less than 1/10 of a second behind Vapor Trench, so it might just do the trick if he can have a solid sector 3 here. And it looks like he will slide up to P2. Wow, look at the difference in time between Greeny, Big Baguette, and Carwin. All of these drivers about 1/10 of a second apart from each other. And of course Vapor Trench only 5/100ths of a second back from Carwin. So our top 4 drivers differ only by about 2/10 of a second. So very, very, very close. Trulson also turned in a very solid qualifying. Trulson will be looking to keep his momentum going. He's managed to accrue some points and slide up into 7th currently in the table. So Trulson will hopefully find himself with a good result here. And it looks like all of our drivers are indeed ready to go, just waiting for Carwin at this point. And there he goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with qualifying and making our way now into our race here in Great Britain. Should be a lot of fun as we see Greeny in that Ferrari car will start at pole, with Big Baguette starting just behind him in second. Vapor Trench will start in third. Carwin will start in fourth. And look at these gaps of these top 4. I mean, it is minuscule. So really, really close. Look at that difference there. 1,000th of a second between Josh Smithness and Gino Giuseppe. So certainly tight differences all up and down as we head into our British Grand Prix here in Northampton. Should be a lot of fun. This track is relatively close, maybe not quite a stone's throw from many of our drivers, but close enough that I'm sure one or two of them may have seen a race in Northampton at some point as young lads. Or old lads. Not one to judge when one watches their F1 racing. So our current table leader, Vapor Cobalt, will not be racing with us today. So it just might make things tighten up even more at the top, with Big Baguette and Greenie both yearning to close that gap of 19 points and 30 points respectively to Vapor Cobalt. Certainly no better time than here in Great Britain to do it. Alright folks, so it looks like we're going to have some good weather here for our race as we start our formation lap. Slap on tires, talk a little bit about our tire setup. As we see, our top 11 drivers will start on the soft composite tires. It looks like Worried Cloud will be on mediums. Josh Smithness and Gino Giuseppe will both be on softs. 15 through 19 are all going to start on mediums. As we see, 4 drivers now get disqualified in the formation lap, so won't get the chance to really get those tires nice and warm. Not sure exactly what maybe caused that. Definitely not what you want to see in a formation lap, to not have the chance to warm those tires up. Nicholas Volkman starting in 7th. That's a very nice qualifying for him. As it looks like Trulson will also at some point maybe get disqualified, as he's raced ahead of the rest of the pack. I'm not entirely sure what Trulson is doing here, but he'll figure it out. So yeah, Nicholas Volkman sets a very nice qualifying time to put himself starting in 7th. So nice job for him. As Trulson will now let the rest of this grade catch up to him, he'll slide back into the proper place. So 26 laps here in Great Britain, each lap just under 6 kilometers. And we will see what this track here in Great Britain has in store for us as we see our drivers approach their starting marks. And we will get settled in and wait for our lights. Let's see, I'm not entirely sure what's... There we go. Alright, as the lights turn on in Great Britain and they are switched off. And ladies and gentlemen, we are away. And with the smoke clearing, we'll have to see who comes out of these first few turns unscathed. Already contact, and that is... Somebody's disqualified right off the bat. In fact, 2 drivers have lost front wheels. That's Vapor Elian and Nicholas Volkman. Looks like Nicholas Volkman was bumped into a wall, lost the tire, and Vapor Elian smashes into the back of Nicholas Volkman and also loses a tire. So already a virtual safety car here, as we've lost 2 drivers in the first moments of this this race. Very disappointing for Vapor Elian, very disappointing for Nicholas Volkman. Gave Nicholas Volkman, I guess, the commentator's curse, as fresh off the block, and saw the tire riding up on the hood. So we are under virtual safety car for at least a few more moments as we get that wreckage and debris cleared. Perhaps a little bit of damage there I can see on Let's Get Fiscal. Maybe also involved in the opening moments of the race. And it looks like he has indeed picked up a penalty for a bit of contact as the virtual safety car lifts we are back away. Our front three drivers very close with each other as Big Baguette gets to work on Greeny. Greeny, of course, with that pull away potential. And we see Vapor Trench sliding into the pits. It looks like maybe a bit of damage for Vapor Trench. And we'll also see Let's Get Fiscal and Reflection probably also caught up in the carnage of the first lap. Oh, who's that? Let's see. That looks like it is Vapor no? Gino Giuseppe, maybe? Yeah, Gino Giuseppe. It looks like he got spun out there. But he's back on the track and doing just fine. As we still see Greeny leading the way. Big Baguette about a half a second back. So not exactly a great start for Vapor Trench, for Let's Get Fiscal, and for Reflection, as Let's Get Fiscal will slap on the hard tires and look to take those as long as he can. Even worse of a start for Vapor Elian and Nicholas Volkman. Very, very bad luck indeed. Still waiting on our leaderboard on the left side of your screen there to get itself sorted out. There we go. Greeny is still in first place. And he will continue to be so. Meanwhile, let's take a look back at Carwin and Josh Smithness going right on top of each other, side by side here as we get into lap 3. Very, very close these two are. Looks like Carwin for now has the better of Josh Smithness, as this will be our first lap with DRS enabled. And Carwin looks to set his sights on chasing down Leslie the Twig, I should say, formerly known as Vapor Lazy. Let's take a look up at Gourlay, currently in 5th place. Nice start to the race for him so far, as he's maintained that position that he qualified in. To see if Gourlay can turn in a good race here in Great Britain. He's certainly due for one. Meanwhile, Carwin looks like he has been spun out as he and Justice now wait for a few other drivers to get by. It looks like Carwin has lost that right wing end plate. So definitely not the start that Carwin wanted. And we do have a safety car now. That is not good at all, and we'll see many of our drivers heading into the pits here. We'll see now Let's Get Fiscal make up a little bit of time with those hard tires, getting back into this, as we see many of our drivers head into the pits. Word Cloud will stay out on the medium tires, as will Red Sniper. Vicensky looks like he's going to stay out on the softs. That's a risky decision for Vicensky. We'll have to see if it pays off. Lesty/Lazy looks like he's going to stay out on those mediums. Gino's going to stay out on the softs. Greeny's now out of the pits in 6th place. Still, it looks like most of these drivers that headed into the pits will be able to stay out a little longer than Let's Get Fiscal, who's also heading into the pits. Interesting choice for Let's Get Fiscal. While we have the safety car, why don't we take a look real quick at penalties and see what penalties we've gotten here so far, as Let's Get Fiscal and Carwin have both picked up 5-second time penalties. That was the collision that knocked Nicholas Volkman out of the race. Let's see. Worried Cloud looks like he picked up a penalty for spinning out. Well, that's for Gourlay and Trulson, so that might have not been the spin out, but the collision coming out of the first turn. Vapor Trench also has picked up a 5-second penalty. And here we go. So the collision that happened just moments ago between Justice and Carwin looks like Justice, Carwin, Josh Smithness, and KJ all. Sorry, Justice and Carwin pick up penalties for the collision. Josh Smithness and KJ both pick up penalties for speeding in the pit lanes. Can't be doing that, folks. And it looks like Let's Get Fiscal slapped on some medium tires now, as we will wait for the safety car to head off. Certainly an interesting begin to this race, as we've already lost 2 of our drivers. We've seen quite a few points of contact, and it looks like we'll have a safety car here take us into lap 6. Not exactly the start that some of these drivers wanted, but nonetheless it is the start that these drivers are stuck with. We'll have to see if Let's Get Fiscal, Reflection, Justice, and Carwin can rejoin this train before the safety car heads off. So it looks like we're getting a comment live from down on the track, as Lazy has commented that he lost the back end in Beckett's, and Carwin came into the back of him and caused a bit of a pileup, and that's what brought us this here safety car. So as we wait for the rush hour traffic to clear, it looks like we're just now waiting for Reflection and Let's Get Fiscal to rejoin this train. And we'll have to see if our safety car is heading off at the end of this lap. Lights are still on, so it looks like we may have one more lap under the safety car. I haven't seen a notification yet one way or the other, and yes, indeed, it looks like we'll have one more lap with our safety car, which should give ample time for Reflection and Let's Get Fiscal to join back up, and then we'll just send it and give it another go. Starting with lap 7 will be our first lap without the safety car. So, Leslie, we just gotta have you keep it clean here the rest of the way out, as we see you up in 4th place now. Not too bad of a place to be. Certainly Vicensky and Gino are probably second-guessing themselves about not stopping off in the pits. However, I'm sure they had teammates in those pits that kept them from putting on some fresh tires. So it's just bad luck, I would say, for them. As I'm sure these drivers are as eager as you and I to get this race back underway. Our safety car driver is taking his sweet time handling the ins and outs of these corners. And we do have all 17 drivers now back in this pack, all grouped together, ready for a restart, as I'm sure we will see our good friend Mr. Safety Car Driver exiting stage right here momentarily. And his lights go off, signaling to the drivers that this will be a restart here once we get back to our start-finish line. We'll see what kind of start Worry Cloud has coming off the safety car, trying to keep Red Sniper, Vicensky, Lesty the Twig and Gino in check. And we approach the start-finish line and a restart. It looks like Worried Cloud has done a nice job with that restart. Red Sniper, as you saw, went a little wide. And it looks like all of our drivers for now are through the first turn at least, as we head up to see and Worried Cloud has given himself a little bit of separation from Red Sniper. Not a ton. Could certainly use more. Now we see Vachensky and Lesty the Twig going side by side. Bit of contact. Oh, and just saw somebody go flying by, and it looks like Gino is out of the race. Oh my goodness. As Maddie looks to get back on. Oh, a lot of drivers going wide here. Oh man. As you see Gino's car there on the right side of your screen. He will have a DNF for this race. Bad luck for Gino. I guess welcome back to Bette, Jalle. It was good to have you for these 6 laps and change. Hopefully better luck in the coming weeks for Gino Giuseppe. And we once again have a virtual safety car, as that will lift, I'm sure, momentarily, with most of this pack still grouped up rather tight. Vapor Trench and Maddie a little further back from the rest of the group. Let's Get Fiscal takes advantage of that contact, as many drivers had to swerve out of the way to avoid the same fate as Gino Giuseppe. Worried Cloud picks up the penalty for speeding under the safety car, or the virtual safety car, I should say. Not okay, as Vapor Trench also picks up a penalty. Not exactly the race the Vapor Trench wanted here in Great Britain, coming off a very good finish in Austria. As now we see Red Sniper lose it, and he's off the track into the grass. Maybe had a little bit of contact with Worried Cloud. He's back on the track for now. Oh, not good for Red Sniper. And now we have lazy Lesty the Twig, currently in second now, tasked with chasing down Worried Cloud. Definitely not the top 3 you're used to seeing here. Worried Cloud, Lesty, and Vachensky. Not exactly mainstays at the top of the leaderboard. We'll have to see how that holds up. Of course, Big Baguette and Greenie in 4th, and 5th and 4th, I should say, respectively, look to make up a little bit of time on those much fresher medium tires, trying to chase down those drivers in front. We see Worried Cloud heading into the pits. That will move Lazy up into the lead for now. Certainly has been a chaotic race here in Great Britain. 3 drivers down, 2 on after the first turn of the race. And Vachensky is right on the back of Lesty the Twig, only about a half second behind on those 8-lap-old softs. So we see a yellow flag. That's got to be Manny and Vapor Trench, it looks like. As these folks better get on their horse, or they might find themselves lapped here. We're only on lap 9. Still, a lot has happened as Trolson picks up a 3-second penalty. Looks like Greenie has his eyes set on an overtake here. Looks like Maddie also will DNF. Not sure what happened to him So it looks like he maybe will retire in the pit. And Greeny will look to get by Vicensky and Alessi the Twig here in this lap, I have no doubt. Very much right on the back of Vicensky, with Big Baguette just a few tenths of a second behind him. He'll use his DRS to see if he can get by Vicensky here. Vicensky plays a little bit of defense, and Greeny decides now is not the time to make a move. And Raven Fleming's back in the chat, rooting on her boy, Big Baguette. Big Baguette currently in fourth, looking to get by Vicensky and Lazy, and try to just keep pace with Greeny, which is always a challenge. So Vapor Trench now 41 seconds back of Worried Cloud, is just looking to run his best race, honestly, and just turn in solid lap time after solid lap time. As you see Greeny past Vicensky, bit of a bump between Vicensky and Big Baguette there. Now it will be Big Baguette's turn to see if he can also slide by Vicensky and try to keep pace with Greeny as we head here into our home straight. And Greeny has indeed passed Lesty, who's headed into the pits. Vicensky is still staying out on those soft tires. These things have certainly got to be feeling the wear and tear now, especially on this longer track. 10 laps, I should say, is no small feat for soft tires. As Big Baguette will have no trouble on this first DRS zone getting by Vicensky. He'll move up into second place just behind Greeny. And now at this point it becomes a war of attrition to see who blinks first between Greeny and Big Baguette. Meanwhile, Carwin's done well to work his way back up to 6th, showing good pace with those hard tires. Let's Get Fiscal manages to get by Justice and looks to now chase down Josh Smithness. Showing really impressive paces, Let's Get Fiscal, on these medium tires, chasing down a few drivers here with the hards that they put on after the safety car a few laps ago. As you see, Let's Get Fiscal and Justice going side by side. For now, Justice gets the better of Let's Get Fiscal. A bit of a train forming back here, 3 cars along, as Reflection looks to join this group. We still see Lazy in the pits. I'm not quite sure what exactly is taking him so long. And it looks like he's back out on the hards. Very, very close racing between Josh Smithness, Justice, and Let's Get Fiscal. So Let's Get Fiscal sends it just a little bit wide coming out of that tricky turn 9. It's easy to do. As we're into this DRS zone number 2 with Let's Get Fiscal, as Justice slides past Josh Smithness. Red Sniper picks up a 3-second penalty. Got to be careful to keep it on the track here in Great Britain. It's easy to overrun off of some of these corners. As Lesty picks up a 3-second time penalty. Certainly is our closest train, so we'll keep her right here for just a little while longer. Carwin has now managed to find himself all the way up in 5th. Let's just take a peek at Red Sniper and Carwin to see what is going on between these drivers. A little bit of contact there. Carwin and Red Sniper bumping tires a few times, as it looks like Red Sniper will manage to slip by Carwin and hang on to 5th place for now. It doesn't look like Carwin has given up though. Lots of very, very close driving here. A little bit over halfway through this race. It's shaping up to be an interesting one. We still have Greeny and Big Baguette out a decent bit in the lead. That duo has about a 3.5 second lead over Vachensky. So it looks like it's really between Big Baguette and Greeny currently. Vachensky's still out there on those 13-lap-old softs, as Red Sniper now manages to get the better of Trulson, slide past him into 4th. I'm sure Vachensky will either need to pit here coming up, or he might find himself with some sort of tire trouble. We see Carwin just trying again and again to find an angle to attack Trulson with. He's finding a difficult time, as Trulson also pushing the attack on Red Sniper, trying to take that position back from Red Sniper. As we see Greeny and then immediately Big Baguette setting the fastest lap time. Looks like we're going to get a pass here. Carwin on Trulson as they go side by side. Very, very close. Look how tight this is, ladies and gentlemen. As Carwin thought about making a move there, unable to get it done safely, so backs off just a little bit. And we see Red Sniper shoot by Vachensky, as the two of them are also side by side going back and forth. It looks like Red Sniper is going to be able to get that move done and slide up into 3rd place, as he'll look to start chasing down our front runners, Big Baguette and Greeny. Finally, Carwin gets the move done on Trulson. Let's see if it holds up. No, Trulson manages to shoot the outside and slingshot himself around Carwin to hold on to that position. And Carwin will have to go back to work. Trench sets the fastest lap time. He's got a lot of work to do, back in 15th currently. And it looks like Vachensky's going to stay out for another lap on those soft tires. No, he will head into the pits. I apologize. So Vachensky finally into the pits on those 14-lap-old softs. He'll put on some mediums to take him the rest of the way, I have no doubt. This middle group here, really from 3rd down to around 10th, still relatively close to each other. As we see Gourlay also hanging out there in 6th place, running a good race so far. We'll have to see if he can keep that up. He's been yearning for a good points finish, so hoping that he can hang on here. Let's get Fiscal somehow managing to get back into the top 10. Certainly has been not exactly his best race. through this point. Just a few tenths of a second behind Josh Smith, and this looks like this is where he's going to look to take an inside path. Interesting. I really thought he was going to try to shoot the outside there, but instead looks to pass on the inside. It seems to be the right call. Still get by Josh Smith, and it's no problem. And hold on to that P8. As we see Red Sniper heading into the pits now. Gourlay slides up into 5th. Nice work from him. Meanwhile, we see Greeny still hanging tough and keeping the interval just over a second on Big Baguette. Definitely down to these two, I would imagine. We'll have to see if they decide to take these mediums the rest of the way. They would certainly be aging by the time we get to the end of the race. Not sure they'll hold up, but we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, the 3 drivers behind them all on hard, so in a better position should Greeny or Big Baguette run into any sort of tire trouble as this race grows into its waning stages. Carwin still looking to chase down Trulson. This is probably our closest interval here, at least for now. So we'll keep it to see if Carwin can get a move done on Trulson and hold on to it. We've seen that outside pass a few different times. Oh, as we see Trulson sent wide, trying to get back around Carwin. Not sure if there's anything Trulson or Carwin could have done differently there. Certainly bad luck indeed. But Carwin finds himself up in 3rd now. And now he is tasked with trying to reduce that 7-second interval between himself and Big Baguette. Let's take a look down at reflection. Josh Smith in this Let's Get Fiscal, and now Trulson back at this train spanning 6th through 9th. These 4 drivers are all within about 2 seconds of each other. Gourlay picks up a 3-second time penalty. He won't be pleased with that, that is for sure. Looking like he's going to get a really solid finish here. He's just got to kind of hold on and, you know, just run his race. So we are in our final 8 laps here in Northampton. Big Baguette has closed the interval now down under a second on Greeny. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if Big Baguette makes a move on Greeny. Now at least getting the benefit of DRS as long as he keeps that time difference under a second. So pop up to Let's Get Fiscal, who's looking to see if he can maybe get a move done on Trulson, who just a moment ago found himself in 3rd place, spun out with a bit of contact with Carwin, drops 3 positions down to 6th. Just doing his best to hold off Let's Get Fiscal on those 14-lap-old mediums. Jensky picks himself up a penalty as well. Take a peek up at Big Baguette, who now has the interval down to about 0.6 of a second. He is indeed earning that. We have a virtual safety car as, unfortunately, Leslie the Twig looks like he's out of this race. Not entirely sure what happened there. As you can see him out on the far right. Looks like he met a wall, and unfortunately the wall won, as it is wont to do. So that is our 5th driver now out. That is really bad luck for Leslie the Twig. Formerly known as Lazy, Paper Lazy that is. So he will also receive a DNF, and we are down to 14 drivers. And Big Baguette has decided to go ahead and pit under this virtual safety car. Bit of a chance being taken here as he's out on the softs. He'll have to pass a few drivers to get back up into the lead, but he is counting on Greeny also needing to pit at some point. Lots of penalties all up and down as our virtual safety car lifts, and Greeny is way out in front in first on those 15-lap old mediums. Will he try to push them for another 6 laps? Try to push those medium tires for 21 laps? We saw Vichensky on softs for about 15 laps, so it can be done. But Big Baguette plays it safe, decides he'd rather make sure to earn points, even if they're not first place points. Meanwhile, it looks like Greeny's going to be taking a chance. Yeah, sorry about that, Lazy. That was rough luck there, buddy. Really found that wall in a very convincing way. So Big Baguette finds himself about 5 seconds back with around 6 laps to go of reflection. He finds himself, I would say, almost 15 seconds or so back of Greeny. So not sure Big Baguette will be in for a podium in this race, but certainly looking good to earn points, and I feel like he's got a good chance to possibly even earn top 5 points. Let's take a look at Justice right on the back of Gourlay. Gourlay now in 3rd place. Certainly could be talking about a podium for Gourlay after a really rough race last week. Yes, indeed. Vapor Lazy, Lazy the Twig, I should say. You did find yourself in P1 for a lap or so. So always fun whenever you get to set the pace for a little while. We'll have to see if Justice can chase down Gourlay. Gourlay really could use podium points, as he's currently sitting on just 1 point this season. As we see them go side by side, be very careful here, Gourlay. We don't want to see you out of the race when you're in for good points here. Big Baguette, meanwhile, has closed out at least a couple of seconds on reflection ahead. Yeah, it would be a lot of fun to see Gourlay get a podium, as Lazy just posted. It certainly would be a good time. He is certainly the driver that is most due, I think, for a podium, as he's had some really bad luck in a few different races, but certainly showing really good form over the last few weeks. Is that Vapor Lazy? Yeah, Vapor Lazy's has been lapped by the first 4 drivers. Yeah, indeed, he does have the penalty, although you also have to take note that a lot of the drivers around him also have penalties. It really comes down to what kind of penalties. I don't want to ruin the end of the race by looking. If we get a safety car at some point, I might go ahead and take a look at penalties. But it certainly could be close. It looks like Justice and Greeny are both still without penalties, as Carwin's still looking to chase down Greeny. Greeny holding tough on those medium tires, heading into their 18th lap of use. We'll have to see. What do you think, Lazy? Do you think the tires hold up for Greeny? I think it'd end up being a good call to not pit, as Big Baguette did, sliding himself all the way back into 9th place. Big Baguette looks like he, like I said, decided not to take a chance on his tires and instead just turn in the race for any points that he could get. We'll have to see if the wager by Greeny pays off. So we see Red Sniper pick up a penalty. Let's Get Fiscal has managed to work himself back up into 6th place against all odds. Also on 18-lap old mediums, as is Reflection. So it'll certainly be interesting to see if these medium tires of these three drivers hold up. So Big Baguette does get by Reflection, now gets to work on Josh Smith in this. And he'll have a really nice exit there from turn 9. It looks like he'll be able to slide by Josh Smith in this into 7, showing impressive pace on those soft tires. And we'll have to see if he can catch up to Let's Get Fiscal on those very old medium tires. Let's Get Fiscal, meanwhile, chasing down Trulson on the 18-lap old hards. Vapor Trench sets a fastest lap, so good work for Vapor Trench. Looks like our top 9 drivers, barring a collision or a tire puncture of some sort, are pretty safe for now. Gourlay still managing to hang tough with Justice. Gotta keep it consistent here through these last few laps. Just 3 more laps. You just gotta keep it on the track here, and Gourlay should be in for some much needed points. Take a look at Greeny, see how the tires are holding up. So far, so good. I don't see too much wear or punctures on any of those tires. Just 2 more laps they have to get them through. So 3 drivers on those very old medium tires. We'll have to see if any of them run into any sort of bad luck or tire issues here on these last 2 laps. Keep it right here with Gourlay, trying to chase down Justice, doing everything he can. Still our tightest margin here. Perhaps Reflection on the back of Josh Smithness, but let's just keep it here. Let's keep on seeing what Gourlay can get done here as we head into our last lap. Greeny still managing to keep those tires alive. Big Baguette looks like he is poised to get a pass done on Let's Get Fiscal in this final lap. Be reasonable to expect, I think, Big Baguette on those fresher soft tires to get the pass done on Let's Get Fiscal. And indeed, through this DRS zone, Big Baguette will get by Let's Get Fiscal. It looks like he'll get a top 6. Maybe we'll take a look at a top 5 finish. All comes really down to penalties. We'll have to see. Little love for the commentator down in the chat. Thank you very much, Raven. That's very sweet of you to say. I certainly will not quit my day job, but it is a good time to bring you guys these races. As we see, Greeny does finish with those 22-lap-old tires. Carwin will finish in second. It looks like Justice will be coming across the finish line in third. Indeed. Gourlay finishes in fourth for now. Let's Get Fiscal jumps many different drivers with the penalties, including Gourlay, who slots back into fifth. Big Baguette will be in sixth. Trulson in seventh. Reflection in eighth. Josh Smith will finish in ninth. And it looks like Red Sniper will round out our top 10. I don't believe Vichensky will be able to make the difference up in penalties, but we'll let you know in just a second here. Yes, indeed, Red Sniper will secure that 10th place finish and the last points getter in this race. So congratulations to Greeny, who finds himself not only back on a podium, but back in first. Meanwhile, my driver of the day, I gotta give it to Frank Gourlay with the top 5 finish. It's been a long time coming, especially after the ribbing I gave him last week in Austria. Seems only fair that I give him the driver of the day nod from me, earning very good points. Game decides to go in a slightly different direction without the context of history, giving the driver of the day nod to Justice, our third place driver. Well, folks, it has been an absolute blast to bring you this race here in Great Britain. Certainly an exciting race beginning, and I would argue that for some, an exciting finish. As we see Greeny dance it out as he's handed the hardware here in Great Britain. Certainly solid amount of points. That should get him within a stone's throw of Vapor Cobalt, only 5 points back. So good work from Greeny, making things very, very interesting here with only 9 races left, I believe. So it should be a lot of fun. So Justice did start, he did not start, in qualifying. He was serving that quali ban. So, you know, kudos to Justice, starting in 18th, working his way all the way up to 3rd. I think that's a much-deserved driver of the day nod from the game. But of course, my driver of the day, Frank Gourlay, 5th place finish. He'll add, just a few points to his score. So for everyone here in the studio, I am Ben Silver on the mic, wishing you all the very best. We'll see you real soon as our F1 journey plods forward. Take care, and until we meet here again next week, this is Ben Silver saying, see ya.